everyone, welcome to Book Nerds on SLJ TV, where school library journal editors like to get their geek on. Now, today we're talking about a topic that might be a little controversial, maybe not, but I personally am one of those who believe that the book is always better than the film adaptation. Maybe Kent would like to disagree. So Kent is here. He is our DVDs reviews editor and our movie reviews editor as well. And he's here to tell us a little bit about what's going on, up and coming, and things that we should be excited about. You were at the Toronto Film Festival recently, weren't you?
Yes, I just got back on Sunday and saw about 37 films, so I haven't quite recovered. And it's a festival that you have a lot of options. And so they do have a programming slate of kids' films. Not many, but about 4 or 5. And so there was 2 films that I saw in that section. One was The Breadwinner, based on the Deborah Ellis novel that came out more than 15 years ago, before 9/11, and it's set in Afghanistan during the rule of the Taliban in Kabul. And it is executive produced by Angelina Jolie, so it is getting some attention for that.
Wow.
And it is, it's a good adaptation. In some ways it's typical. Some things are removed in the translation to film, and then some storylines are developed a little bit more from the page to the screen. And it will be distributed by G-Kids. It's a company that produces the New York International Children's Film Festival in the winter. And so it will be seen probably in 2018. And that same company, G-Kids, is also distributing one of my favorite films that I saw at the festival, and that is the adaptation of The Big Bad Fox. And we reviewed the book, and the book is a combination of comic strip because of the small panels, and also graphic novel, and we started a few issues back.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's a fun film. It's like Looney Tunes. It's compact, it's 80 minutes, there's 3 stories. Kids don't need to have read the book to get into it. It's pretty self-explanatory, they're up to mischief. And yes, there's the book. And the Big Bad Fox, nobody accepts him as the Big Bad Fox. And they're not scared of him. The chickens, they beat him up when he tries to eat them. And so he's hungry. So he gets some eggs from the chickens, and then the chicks hatch, and the first object that they see is the fox, so they think the fox is mommy.
Right.
And so he can't get rid of them, and then they're afraid of the Big Bad Fox, or so they've heard they have to be afraid of, and they don't realize it's him. And then once he tells them and he convinces them that he is in fact the Big Bad Fox, they think they're foxes too. So there's a lot of like little identity issues, but most of all, it's a romp.
The best product selection I've ever seen at a book fair. When you've got over 60 different places you can look for books, that's pretty darn amazing. I don't think if anybody were to choose a Follett fair that they would have any disappointment whatsoever. I am just so excited to be able to present this fair to our families. It's not about the number of books we sell, it's about putting that right book into the kids' hands. You've got great product and it deserves to be in kids' hands.
My favorite documentary that I saw at Toronto was about Jane Goodall, and it's simply called Jane, and National Geographic produced it. But what makes the film stand out is that it contains the actual footage when she went to Tanzania in 1960 and began her career as a researcher. And so it's just her and the cameraman and the chimpanzees. And it did take her a while, as you see, until she developed a relationship and a trust with the chimpanzees. And it covers roughly the 1960s up until the 70s. It's a little bit of a biography, but it really does concentrate mostly on her work, her observations, the discovery that chimpanzees use tools. They adapt twigs so they can eat termites,
Oh my
which was a
gosh.
major discovery at the time, that they were a lot smarter
Right.
than many scientists believed. And it's probably suitable for middle grade, but it's also for general audiences as well. I mean, it's a strong recommendation for media collections.
Okay, I mean, those all sound fascinating. Are there any other titles that are coming up, like Jane, sooner rather than later? 'Cause
Right.
the other ones you mentioned were 2018.
Right.
Any other ones coming up soon?
Yes, you could say it is a wonderful
Uh-oh.
fall. I know I had to go there. Okay, because first of all, we have Wonderstruck, and that is the adaptation of the Brian Selznick award-winning novel, graphic novel, hybrid, and Todd Haynes, art house director, he has taken it on. I haven't seen it yet. It looks great. I was mesmerized by the trailer that I saw at the concession stand in Toronto. People had to ask me to move because I was just standing there still. So, and it has Michelle Williams and Julianne Moore, so it has a A-list cast. And then we have, speaking of A-list cast, we have Julia Roberts in Wonder, an adaptation of R.J. Palacios' novel.
Yeah.
And that will be out in mid-November. I think it's the 17th. And it's right in the middle of award season, so that's very promising.
Probably a contender.
We'll see. And then later in the year, there's the adaptation of Let It Snow, which is based on the 3 short stories, holiday-themed stories by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. I think that's in selected theaters December 31st.
Right.
But the film that I might be looking forward to the most is Ferdinand, which is an adaptation. I imagine a very loose adaptation because it's based on a picture book from the 1930s, the Monroe Leaf and Robert Lawson, big bestseller in its day. And it was also a film that a short film that Walt Disney made in 1938, which, by the way, you can still see on YouTube.
Really?
So all 7 minutes. So I don't know what they're going to do with the feature film. But it's a sentimental favorite, so I am looking forward to that, and that is in the middle of December.
That is such a sweet book, and I know it's a classic that a lot of people read even today, about the importance of individuality. I can't wait to see that too. I can understand why you're excited.
Yeah, and it's very similar in some ways to The Big Bad Fox in some ways. You know, 2 characters that are not accepted, they're labeled, and they're quite different from how people perceive them as they should be. So yes, and also it has a big name cast too that are doing the voices. So it'll be in theaters everywhere.
All right. Well, I mean, I've also been seeing a lot of social media buzz on some adaptations of things that are coming up in the future, but feature a diverse cast, which is, I think, something that a lot of people are anxious to see, something that's been great on the page now translated to the screen as well, including A Wrinkle in Time, which I think, is it Ava DuVernay? DuVernay, I think she's directing it or is involved in some way.
No, she is directing it.
She is directing it.
Right, and so far it's the biggest budgeted film directed by a woman. I think the budget's more than 100 million, but it's up in that range. And that comes out, I believe, on March 3rd. It's in early March, and yes, you're right, it is a diverse cast. And that one I'm probably looking forward to the most. Little concerned because everyone has their own interpretation and the imagery. And to see it literally, you know, we'll see, but it does look very promising.
Yeah. It's such a beloved book.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Yes. and then also, The Hate U Give is in. It's apparently it's a fast track production, and I believe that is coming out next year. It has Amanda Stenberg from Everything, and Common. Those are the 2 names that stood out for me. So yes, those are 2 coming along.
That's certainly a big book this fall season, or this year. And I can't wait to see that adaptation as well. I recently spoke to Meg Medina, the author of
right.
Jackie Delgado Wants to Kick Your ASS. 'Cause I'm not one to curse. But I really can't wait to see that adaptation. I'm not sure where it is currently in production. Gina Rodriguez of Jane the Virgin fame, which I love. She is one of the producers on that. It's, I'm pretty sure, a TV show or small screen adaptation for one of the streaming channels. I can't remember which one. And I spoke to Meg Medina recently about it because she actually went out to libraries and schools in Brooklyn and in Manhattan to focus group with some teenagers and to see, to get their feedback on how they want to be represented on the page. So I can't wait to see that because it's by a Latina producer, a Latina author, and it's about Latino characters set in Queens, where I am born and raised, well, born in Brooklyn, but raised in Queens. So that's definitely one that I'm excited about. And I think every day we, get new news of new adaptations. So Kent is just going to have to keep us updated. Check out his movie reviews on our website. And until next time, stay nerdy, friends.